We're streaming.
Okay, we're streaming, and I'm going to hold up this sign, which reads, "Filming in progress." This was a present to us at Cypography from Godfrey's Joinery. So thank you very much, mate, for sending us this. We do appreciate it. And it's pretty cool. His number, and I'm going to tell everyone his number in case you would like something like this, or maybe some joinery done, because I'm guessing he does more than make these, is 07854147322. So yeah, that's my thank you to Godfrey's Joinery for this present, which we will mount somewhere in the office. So that can go down. We've got a few different things to talk about on this live. We've got a little bit of Cypography news, well, quite a lot of Cypography news actually. The first of which is a bit of a save the date, and it is important to us that you do save this date. The 11th of July, which is this month, because it's the 1st of July today. So the 11th of this month, we are releasing our first underwater film, a new series called Submerge. We've taken the leap. It's been a long time coming, and you know we are very much planning to bring you underwater content as often as we can. It's hard to create those films. A lot goes into it. A lot can go wrong. A lot can go right, and when it goes right, it's very good. And we're delighted to say that our first one could not have gone better, to be quite honest with you. So it's going to be a two-part film, the first of which comes out on the 11th. The second part comes out, what would that be? The following Monday, so the 18th. So stay tuned, tell your friends, tell everybody. Cypography's first underwater film, 11th of July. And we will play a little preview. This isn't a trailer, it's just something to give you a little insight into some of the footage that we've got. We'll play you that right now. Actually the wrong clip. So well done, Bridger. Say well done. Well done,
Cheers,
mate.
thanks,
Come over here a second.
No.
Come over here.
No.
Come over here. Come on. Come into the screen. No, this way. Right.
I'm sorry, it was the wrong one.
So Bridger
I've just spent 3 hours this morning making that one.
All morning making that. You can find the right one in a minute. Maybe we'll finish on that. Either way, that will give you. That should give you a little bit of a taste of what to expect. Second thing, more on the news front. 6 p.m. today, so Friday the 1st, 6 p.m. Make sure you check out our Facebook and Instagram pages because we have some more big news. Now, this is something I would like to talk about now, but I can't because I've been told I'm not allowed. I've already let the secret out of the bag a couple of times, and hopefully I'm not going to do that again. So I'm going to be careful what I say now. Just make sure you check out Cypography Instagram, Facebook pages. I'll stop talking there. So yeah, underwater's coming. Something cool announcement tonight, 6 o'clock. Wait for that. After the underwater, we've got 2 films back to back with Gaz Fairham. A while ago, we started a series called The Search, which, as the name would kind of suggest, is Gaz's search for, the very best fishing there is. And we follow him on that journey. So 2 films back to back. I'm not going to talk too much about those films now. I will go into that a little bit further down the line. But, if you're a Cypography member, you've got a lot to look forward to at the moment. Obviously, we've just had the 3 Jim Shelley films where myself and Jim fished that massive lake in France. Some of the feedback regarding those has been incredible, and thank you to those that have taken the time to give us your feedback. We'll talk a little bit about them in a little while. We've got those, we've got underwater, we've got these films with Gaz, and we've also got some content from a guy called John Timmerman, who has been making stuff for YouTube for a number of years. And these are some of the things I'd like to talk about over the next 10 minutes or so. But first up, Gaz's series, the next two films coming, I'll give you a little bit of a teaser. These are the trailers for the films. Bridger, are you going to play the right video this time?
These are the correct trailers.
Right, so this is the trailer for part 1.
Mate, look at her. Oi. Well, I'm not going to lie, this is starting to break me. Come out to France for a 10-dayer with my friend Elmo. He's never done any of this sort of big water public fishing before. He's a bit of you. Yeah, mate. Yeah, that's big. Oh. Come on. Come on. Get in. Get in. Whoa. Mate, he looks like a zoo creature. What a bloody lovely 3 nights fishing, eh, mate?
There we go. You will have noticed the monster catfish. Now, this is a question I always have to ask people. If you've caught a catfish, any catfish really, do you like catching them? I've caught a few over the years. The first catfish I ever caught was years ago when I worked for Border. We were we were fishing at a place called Todber Manor. We were doing something called Carp Fest. Some of you may even have been there. Carp Fest was, it's like call it an open day at a lake where people turn up, they come around, they used to buy or look at the quarter tackle, etc, etc. We'd be fishing, they come and talk to us. And we were fishing this lake full of cats, and I did not want to catch a catfish. Obviously the inevitable happened. I caught my first cat there, about 27 pound. Didn't want to hold it, and then was forced by 20 odd people and their children to get this thing out. Personally, I don't really like them. They wreck your swim. They stink. They shit all over the mat. They're too big to deal with properly. But yeah, do you like catfish? It's all because I do actually meet some people who love catching them, and it always surprises me. Aside from the catfish that you would have seen in that trailer, you'd have seen quite a lot of nice carp, and the lake that the first film is shot at it's a beautiful lake, but more importantly, it is home to some beautiful carp. And you know, the lake isn't famous in any way. It's kind of off the beaten track, we call it. Very much off the beaten track, should I say. No big fish, but the carp in there are beautiful, and that's kind of what this series with Gaz is all about. You know, it's not about catching the biggest carp in the world or anything like that. It's going to nice places and catching beautiful carp. And as I said, the film is split into 2 parts. So what actually happened was he went out there for, I think he went out for about 12 or 15 days, or maybe not quite that long. He went out there for quite a while. First part of the trip, he went to a really deep lake, days only fishing. He went from there to the lake you've just seen in the trailer. And we kind of split the film. So he starts at one venue with a retrospective look back at this fishing on there before we arrived. Then we head somewhere else and we look retrospectively back at the first venue he fished. So a little bit different in terms of how the films are put together, but it's a nice bit of variety, different lakes fished, lots of carp caught. And part 2 is pretty much all about days only fishing. So travelling to France a long way with just the days at your disposal, which is quite brave. You know, I've actually done it in the past, and very quickly you start to think, oh, is this a good idea? And you feel like you're wasting a lot of time, but time was definitely not wasted, you know. And him and Elmo, so it's not just Gaz, I should point that out. He went out there with his friend Elmo, and between them they caught loads of carp for some really cool places. So part 2 trailer I will show you now.
Use your muscles.
I haven't got any.
Didn't really get any sleep last night. To be honest, didn't really get any sleep for the 2 previous nights either at the other lake. We had a lot to do today. It was a big drive as well. We're much further north now. This is an area that I've fancied coming to for a good few years. come, it's come. Yeah. It's come out.
Stick over, brother.
Yes.
Proper.
Sick, brother. Well done, mate. Get in. Yes. That is what we came for.
So, yeah, two very different films, but something to look forward to for sure. Now, I mentioned John Timmerman, so some of you, I'd like to think quite a lot of you will know his name. Far from one of carp fishing superstars, we put it that way. You know, he's very much an ordinary guy, and he's been making YouTube content and fishing abroad for a very long time. You know, I think he was one of the first really to actually document his fishing abroad for YouTube, which now it seems the norm. Back when he started doing it, it wasn't, and also back when he started travelling out into France, etc., etc. That wasn't the norm either. So he's been doing this for a number of years, and we're now very fortunate to have his content come into Cypography. So if you've watched John's stuff in the past on YouTube, you'll now be able to get it on Cypography. Old and new, there'll be new content that doesn't go on YouTube. You know, it's exclusive to Cypography, but we do have a mixture of his old content as well for people to get stuck into. So it's not just the new stuff, not just the old stuff. You know, it's a mixture of both. And moving forward, we'll do lots of stuff with John. So, as I said, he's been filming out there for a long time, doing this fishing for a long time. He's caught some incredible fish over the years, and he's made some videos that people seem to absolutely love. They're very real, they're very raw. You know, it's like your everyman's carp fishing, or your everyman's carp angler doing not your everyman's carp fishing. You know, it's very much a raw kind of carp fishing in the wilderness. But he also does things like takes his family. So I'll show you a little clip we've extracted from one of his older films, which will just give you a little insight into what he was doing back in the day, and then we'll look at a couple of the other bits that he's doing, you know, more recently.
I'm fishing a 150 acre pit that I fished last summer. Remember, I had 2 nights on there, on here. I had a couple of 30s. But I've done a lap of the lake on the bike. There are 12 carp anglers on. It's pretty stitched up, to be honest. You might say that's not many for 150 acres of water, but when people have all got boats and they're boating baits sort of 100, 150 yards in all directions, it can become pretty stitched up pretty quickly. First night last night on the river. As I said, I didn't put a lot of bait in. Broken eggshell there, snail shell. I didn't put much bait in, I only had 2 takes. One lost where it started, oh my god, unbelievable amount of shell here. Little crustaceans. It's obviously been feeding hard. And then, anyway, I lost one and then I had this nice common. There we go. 27 pounds.
So that's a snippet of some of his older stuff. I think the oldest footage we've seen is like 2013, which is how long ago? 10 years-ish. About a decade ago, isn't it? 10 years ago. He's travelling out there for 10 years before he started making any films or doing any filming, you know. So a hell of a lot of experience in a style of fishing that, for someone from the UK, is that even today it's quite unusual. You know, you don't meet many people that do it. But from talking to John, he goes out there 2 or 3 times a year. Doesn't fish a lot. Goes out there 2 to 3 times a year. Always takes his family for one of the trips, he said to me. So he'll do like a spring, summer, autumn. Generally in the summer he takes his missus, kids, etc. with him, which adds a really nice aspect to his films. You know, it's different. How often do you see films with people taking their kids fishing? I know Alan Blair does it these days, but yeah, it's something, certainly for Cypography, it's something quite different. And I think the raw nature of these films, the way they're filmed, you know, they're not as clean cut, they're not filmed on the best cameras in the world. You know, a lot of the stuff we put out is very much as clean. We like to keep the raw feel of the carp fishing, but the content looks and appears very very clean, whereas John's stuff is as raw as it gets. But people have always loved it, and I'm sure they're going to continue to love it. So here's a little clip of a capture from Cassien that is really cool.
Got him! We've got him! Monster.
Monster.
James! Okay, you're not going to believe this. It's just getting dark. We've got a carp well over 50 pounds here. I'm going to say well over, it's over 50. Weigh her up now, I don't want to keep her out of the water too long. It's definitely over 50 pound. Yes mate, trip made. With the family here to see it. Come on, quickly, come around the back, quickly. Quickly. There we go. Big smiles, smiles all around. Smiles all around. There we go, great stuff.
Let's get a picture with you.
What's it coming round? It goes past 27 and then it goes to 30.
Hold on.
It's just shy of 3.
Right, fine. So that's 22.
So as you can see there, by the end of that, somewhere between 59 and 61, you know, a massive carp. But from what I can gather talking to John, carp fishing is not about weights, numbers and photographs for him. And I actually asked him for photographs. He said, I don't really take any. So yeah, a guy that does a very interesting style of fishing, a very raw style of fishing, and something I think people will very much warm to, something different for Cypography, from a guy that absolutely loves carp fishing, has done for years and years. And if you're a member, be sure to check these out. Next week, every day of the week, so from Monday until Sunday, we are going to release a John Timmerman's film. It'll be a mixture of new films that have never been seen before and some older content as well. So tune in, you'll get a flavour for what he's up to now, and you'll get a taste of what he was up to way back when. So like I say, next week, every day of the week, for the whole week, a new film will go live from John. Some of them are old films that have been seen before by some people, but some of it is brand new content, completely fresh, never been seen before. So make sure you check that out, because you'll probably get, as a Cypography member, you'll probably get, I don't know, 4 to 7 hours of content next week. I haven't tallied it up, but loads of videos to watch. Last clip, I really like this. This is one of the first things I saw of him on YouTube, actually scrolling through, and I think it kind of sums up, maybe not sums his fishing up entirely, but sums up his character. You can see, you can see how happy he is with this carp, and rightly so.
At this point, I cut a great big hole in my foot as I was trying to get out of the water to get this landing net. I could feel this horrible deep scrape on my foot as my foot was bleeding, and I was trying to bring this fish forward, and I could see the waddling, and I literally, big scoop, and she was in the net. And I looked in the net and I was like, that is 60 pounds all day long. I've done it, I've caught all of them, and she happens to be the last one. It was a moment of just unbelievable relief, and at the same time just a feeling of elation that you only get when you're fishing for a target and you catch a target. And it was such a fitting end to an amazing trip. Well, it's happened. The tape came, it had to be the big girl. Immediately, completely buried in weed. The canoeists coming past, telling me to grab the line, saying they were going to grab the line. I said no, I swam out, 15-minute battle, hand lined her in, and we've got her. For the record, not that it's massively important, this is 26 kilos, and this has made my year. This is the most sought after carp for me. I've been thinking about this fish since February 2018, when the campaign started. Oh my god. There we are. And there she is. Thank you so much. I'm just so grateful for catching her.
What a carp. And a big carp for a canal, that is for sure, a very big carp. Okay, so that's John, a bit about John, a bit of what to look forward to from John via Cypography, and that's kind of what's coming, should we call it that, for the next month or so. Now, the first live we did was all about Jim Shelley's Hunter series, about the 3 films we released over the last week or so, or a couple of weeks. Fishing in France. Now, in the last live, I spoke about a few different things. One of the things that I spoke about was, and showed actually, I think we showed a clip, was Jim saw a dog. For those of you that didn't watch the first one, or haven't seen the film, Jim saw a dog, which he claimed was the biggest dog he'd ever seen in his life. He described it as a wolf, and whilst on the way to the pub one day, we spent, I don't know, 20 minutes looking for this dog because he'd seen it and he was adamant I needed to see it. We didn't find the dog, and for all intents and purposes we didn't think we'd ever see the dog again, but Jim did not stop talking about this dog, and the session that we enjoyed was full from the start to finish of weird, strange things happening, often great things. The old saying of, when the planets align and all that, things were happening, and the dog thing was kind of forgotten about, but in typical fashion of this session, the dog we never thought we'd see again, or we did see. And for those of you that may have watched the first live and haven't actually watched the films yet, obviously to watch the films you have to be a Cypography member, so I'm sure there's people watching this that watched the clip of him going on about the dog trying to find it but haven't seen what happened. So I thought I would just show you what did happen now that the film's been out a little while.
Look at that.
There's a big carp.
Look at the gob on that, look. Look, and there's like no marks, it's just, look. Bottom pallet, nothing. It's mental. Marky mark scales.
Marky mark scales, are they?
Yeah, marky marks. Come on, lover.
We're about to photograph and film a massive carp, and there is the dog that Jim was so obsessed with the other day.
Look at the size of that mother. That dog is huge. I told you I weren't lying, yeah?
Look at it. What a mouse.
Look, look. I can only see one black mark.
Now don't they get caught often?
Let's
get him up.
Mate, I am blown.
Good.
You know, it's hard to take this in. It really is hard.
That's what it's all about, man.
You know? If you would have said that I would have caught a 46 mirror, let alone this bar of gold, I would never have believed it.
What a carp, mate.
Buzzing my fucking head off here. And she's so good. I'm going to say he. Paul's so good.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
I can feel the weight then.
Look at
Jesus. Right, let's go the other side. I've got a good arm here. Let's have a look at the other side. One last look before I return carp named Paul back to this massive, massive inland sea, which honestly I never ever dreamt I would catch one carp, let alone this whole lot. It's just unbelievable.
Let's let her go, come on. Go on, darling. And for the record, she weighed 53 pounds.
It's actually nice watching that back. So, yeah, the dog we didn't ever think we'd see again actually turned up just as we was about to deal with what became the biggest fish of that session. I didn't know this at the time, but you'd have said in that clip, Marky Mark Scales. Marky Mark's one of Jim's friends who passed away sadly years ago. And I didn't know this, but he has his scales, he weighs all his fish on his scales. I think they used to fish together all the time. So, you know, that was like, it was a, you can imagine the moment, like, we're just about to deal, this session was mental, we're just about to deal with this fish that has blown our brains away. And then this dog's appeared that we just, when we saw that, it was quite strange. We didn't think we would. And I don't know if anyone knows what sort of dog that is. I would love to know. Is it actually a dog? It looks more like, I don't know what it looks like, but it doesn't look like a dog. So yeah, we're about to deal with this fish. The dog turns up, Marky Mark Scales. It was a nice moment that, and that carp was, I think at the time, the biggest carp Jim had ever caught abroad. So, you know, this session is just getting better and better and better all the time. And I can imagine that for the people that have watched the film, and I said earlier, the feedback we've had has been really good. They're the sort of little moments that when you're making a film you really want to happen, but you can't force them, you can't make them happen, they just happen or they don't. Not just the catching the fish, you know, it's all the other little things. And we kind of, once Jim had caught that, you know, we went to this lake, it's massive, massive, massive lake. For us anyway, over best part of 2,000 acres. We went there with the aim to catch a carp, just one, and it turned into the most mental session. So that in itself was crazy. Then you got all these other things happening, and then Jim catches this massive carp, which was obviously, once you've caught a few, that's what you're hoping for. I don't believe the lake is renowned for having loads of big carp in it. But again, we didn't know too much, but we didn't think that would happen. We didn't think we'd get big, but we did, which you just saw. So once Jim's caught one, it's like, I want to catch one now. You know, what else can we do? How can we make this? How can this session get better? Like, is there any way it can get better? Obviously, the one thing that we didn't have at that point was a big and each. So we had that massive common, and then yeah, it wasn't long later, and it was my turn.
What are you guessing, Jim?
Oh, I'm just going to say 48 plus. I'm safe then. What are you saying, Elliot?
I'm saying I think it's a 50 pounder.
Excellent. Come on.
I'm going to say it is.
All right. Let's have a look then, boy.
Might not be.
Let's have a look, boy.
Your 46 earlier is making me think it is.
I'm saying 51 too.
This is the biggest carp I have ever caught outside of the UK. 51 pounds, and from by far the biggest lake I have ever fished. If I was blown away earlier, oh Jesus, you want to know how I feel now. Oh, that is a proper slab of mirror carp.
Well done,
How
lover.
has this happened, Jim?
Well done, lover. We've
What a
smashed
session.
it.
Yeah, look, I've got people everywhere. Mate, you want a digger, making a racket. Cameraman's a nightmare. I'll tell you what ain't a cameraman's nightmare. This.
You're holding it like a spanner, but there you go. That's what you're saying to me, basically. They're heavy, aren't they, mate?
So that fish was the biggest carp I'd ever caught from outside of the UK. So it was like the session that didn't stop giving. Jim's had his biggest carp. I think it was his biggest carp he'd ever caught. It was biggest carp he'd ever caught outside of the UK. Then I've caught my biggest carp I've ever caught outside of the UK. Like, it was mental, to say the least. And the films that we've ended up with because of that, you know, there could easily be the kind of thing we just don't ever achieve again. I hope we will, and I'm sure we will, somehow, some way, somewhere. But something I mentioned in the previous live was the interaction we had with all the locals. Now, we were fishing right by the road, and what that meant was when we were playing fish, landing fish, holding fish, whatever, we had a lot of interaction with the locals. And there was nothing bad. You kind of expect that with fishing. Not everyone understands how much we care for fishing or how much we enjoy holding them and catching them. It's a bit weird, isn't it, if you don't know. If you're not an angler, it can be a bit strange. A lot of people ask if you're going to put them back. That's quite often the question you get, you know, is the fish going back into the water? But on this one particular session, we had a lot of interaction with locals. They were constantly coming up to us because, you know, they're walking past us anyway. They're only a couple of rod lengths away, and because of that, we had loads of, we'd call it interaction, but it was a bit more than that. You know, they were really excited. They wanted to get involved, and there was one couple that we saw, I don't know how many times we saw them quite a few times, and we were catching so many carp that almost every time we saw them was with a fish. Now, we're in the middle of nowhere, and I'm probably never going to see these people ever again, but when I was thinking about this earlier, I was thinking, oh, what things should I talk about in this, what we're doing now, what things should I talk about? And I thought, I want to put the clip, I've got a clip of this couple, who we called our friends. I've got a clip of them, and I thought I'll put this on YouTube because maybe, just maybe, one day somehow somebody will see this clip and tell them it's on there. And I just wanted to say hello to them. So if you ever watch this, hello. You probably won't watch it, but for everyone else, you know, this is the couple that we kept meeting who were legends.
Got their lover.
Well, we were just about to do an end to the day, chat, and what do you reckon happened? Of course, one of the rods went. £20 common, something like that. Thought we'd use the street lamp to our advantage.
Yeah, different.
What a day we've had, Jim.
Yeah, I know.
It's been crazy.
I'm going to swear I'm fucked right up. Sorry.
I ain't too far off myself.
You're younger than me.
But yeah, carp to finish the day. Happy days.
Yep. Banging.
What will the morning bring?
Over 20 carp in 27, 28 hours. Ridiculous. Rods have been out of the water more than they've been in the water.
They most certainly have. Oh look, we've got some passers-by. There you go, it's them same people again from earlier. Have you seen many fish caught from here before? Have you seen many fish caught from here before?
It's the other one. I made the photo from you here.
No. Have you seen fish from here before?
No.
No, never.
No, it's
No, never.
first time.
We
didn't know
we
it.
saw once
Right.
When you were in France, in the Jura,
Yeah,
at the lake.
yeah.
A guy had also
A carp.
It's like
Small
like
carp,
this,
small fish.
Like this, not so big.
Yeah.
But this one, the other one was the biggest.
Yeah, it's been a crazy day.
And you come from
We come from England.
England?
Yep. We must get the fish back now.
Yes.
Take care.
Do this.
Have a lovely evening. So yeah, if you ever watch that, persons, husband and wife, I believe they're husband and wife. Yeah, it was a pleasure to see you, and maybe one day we'll meet again. Probably not. Last thing to go through or to go over, we did like a questions and answer thing last time, and there were a few questions that we didn't answer that we thought was good. So I will go through them now. And they are, okay, so Carpy Caddy Camper said, advice for someone who's using a boat for the first time. So first thing would be, don't get too small a boat. The first boat I ever got was tiny, too small. You want something over 2 meters. If you're going to be using an engine, which you probably are, I would have thought, get a decent one. You don't have to spend loads. Minn Kota are good, really good, really. I've got a Fox one, which isn't too expensive, decent engine. And for the first battery you get, just get a leisure battery out of Halfords or something like that. Get a decent life jacket or buoyancy aid. I've been corrected on this a few times lately, but there is a difference. A life jacket is, I think, the the ones that inflate as you fall in the water. Buoyancy aids are the ones that, you know, are made from a buoyant material and hold you up. The difference being between the two, I think a buoyancy aid won't hold your head out of water, it just keeps your body afloat, whereas a life jacket, once inflated, will hold your head up out the water. So if you're knocked out or something, you don't drown. So yeah, get a decent sized boat, not too small, not too big of course, but around 2.2 meters to 2.4 meters. Get a decent engine, a decent battery, but don't worry about spending too much money, because I don't think you need to. And a good life jacket, you know, that's probably the most important thing, is your life jacket if you're going to be using a boat. Mike B, how do you select bigger fish in wild waters? I'm not going to say I've fished loads of wild waters, because I haven't, but one thing I know works in terms of selecting bigger carp. You can go down the big bait route, obviously, but you have to go really big. To avoid 20 pounders, you've got to go very big with your bait, almost to sizes that I believe are a bit silly. The best thing I would say is tall pop-ups. Use tall pop-ups and big baits as a combination. The taller the pop-up section, I've always found, the bigger the fish you catch. So it depends on how small the fish are you want to avoid, but like a 4-inch pop-up, you aren't going to catch too many small carp on that, I wouldn't think. There'll be exceptions, but on the whole, the taller your pop-up section, you know, the bigger the fish you will catch, within reason, of course. Pop-up or bottom bait go into a new water. That is from Centrixy, I think that's how you spell it. Pop-up, because you can fish a pop-up anywhere. You know, you turn up. A new lake is all about learning for the first period of time. Now, a bottom bait is not a go anywhere, cast anywhere option. A pop-up is, and when you're starting out on somewhere, it's nice just to be able to see a carp and cast at it. You know, getting your first fish under your belt is very important on a new lake. The sooner, the quicker, and the easier that is to achieve, the better. And you know, a pop-up, it's more reliable, it's more versatile, and you know, you can use it more widely on a variety of different lakes. So if I had to choose one, it would be that. Cole Higgins asked, other than their accents, are there any behaviour differences between English and French river carp? I would say I haven't got a clue, because I don't fish the rivers, but probably not, other than their accent, of course. Andy C. GSI said, why are French carp's barbules so long? Now, I don't know if that's actually true. I kind of feel like it is, that they do have longer barbules out there, but I've caught plenty that have normal length barbules as well. So if there is a generalisation, their barbules are longer, I would imagine for some reason it's an evolutionary thing, and something has caused that to happen. Who knows? Maybe someone does. If you do know, comment section, let us all know. Frank Reed, boilie flavour. What's your favourite boilie flavour? So if I could use one boilie, what would it be? It would be a Baitworks Sent From Hell pop-up or bottom bait. Pop-up isn't a flavour, but so Baitworks Sent From Hell with squid goo or squid supreme. That combination of flavours, without doubt, is my favourite. And that's it. That's all the questions. So last things, remember the 11th of July, Cypography first underwater new series called Submerge is live, and we'll play the trailer. The right trailer this time.
It's going to take 1 second though.
It's going to take 1 second though, apparently. Okay, so yeah, bear that date in mind, do not forget. And the other thing, before I go, 6 o'clock tonight, which is in for 2 hours and 20 minutes. 10.
You can't read the time.
2 hours and 10 minutes. I thought I said 4. Oh, yeah, sorry. 2 hours and 10 minutes. Go over to the Cypography Facebook and Instagram pages, because there is an announcement that will be made that I'm sure will be of interest to lots of you. So have a lovely weekend. Sorry about Bridger in this. He's really let us down. We did discover a minute ago he hadn't actually plugged my microphone into the camera. He plugged it into the headphone jack. So if there's been any audio problems, blame him. The comment section is there to voice your opinions. If you have anything horrible you want to say about him, please leave comments in there. I'll probably put one in there later. Any questions you've got to ask, use the comments section. And that's it. Have a lovely weekend from me and from Mike. We did say the other day, this is new to us, you see. So there's no room for error when you're doing live streams, as we now know. So
We can't edit it out.
we can't edit it out. It's not like a Cypography film. We do what we want. But yeah, remember everyone, all the stuff I've spoken about, if you're not a Cypography member, you can't watch it. As a member, you will get access to over 700 films. So become one, because I'm sure you'll love it. Have a lovely weekend and goodbye.